Right now at 10, how additional funding will help boost mental health services across Dane County.
And a violent weekend in the Madison area. Updates on 3 separate shootings over the last 2 days.
Plus, on his first official day of retirement, why Mike Koval says now is the right time to walk away as Madison's police chief.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for joining us. Dane County is investing nearly $1 million in additional funds to address what the county executive calls some of the most pressing challenges in our community.
As part of the 2020 county budget, that money will go toward mental health and addiction treatment services. Madeline O'Neill tells us how officials hope that will translate into some real change. Maddie?
Eric and Charlotte, many of us are touched in some way by mental illness and addiction. That's why Dane County officials say making resources easier to access is such a priority next year.
It's really a tragedy when someone dies or is seriously injured from something that didn't need to happen.
Watching drug overdose and suicide trends isn't easy.
And over the last number of years, we've seen suicides and drug overdoses really, take the lead.
Safe Communities looks at top causes of injuries in Dane County, working with about 350 area groups to address them.
It really needs to be an all-hands-on-deck approach.
When it comes to mental illness and addiction, Executive Director Cheryl Whitkey knows much of the work must be done outside the office.
We will be out in the community more.
The most effective services and the most effective initiatives come from the ground up.
Dane County Executive Joe Parisi is adding $865,000 in his 2020 budget to enhancing mental health and addiction recovery services.
That's an illness just as much as heart disease is an illness, as much as cancer is illness.
$80,000 of that will go toward expanding Safe Communities Recovery Coach Program.
People who've lived addiction and have recovered from it, and who are also trained to reach out to people who are struggling now. And it's a really powerful intervention because they know they've woken up in the emergency room after an overdose.
Now, those recovery coaches connect with people in places like the hospital after an overdose. Soon, it will expand to community centers like the Urban League.
It really does feel like a family.
And here at the Outreach LGBT Community Center.
LGBTQ people are 3 times more likely to struggle with addiction.
With the program expansion, a recovery coach will be on hand here 10 hours a week.
This is kind of exciting for us.
It connects people where they're at.
It's a safe space.
To get them where they'd like to go.
It's a message of hope.
$500,000 of the budget will be going toward a county grant program for current community-based groups, directly helping those struggling with addiction and mental illness. $200,000 is going toward mental health services for seniors, and that's not all. Parisi will be announcing his full budget proposal tomorrow.
Maddie, thank you. The former NICU nurse accused of abusing infants at Meriter Hospital last year pleads guilty on all 19 counts today. Court records say 44-year-old Christopher Capeham abused 9 babies between March of 2017 through February of 2018. The total of those charges could mean up to 148 years at sentencing. Bond was revoked. Sentencing date has not yet been set. The mother of 2 boys who were busted in a multi-million-dollar vaping operation in Kenosha County has also now been arrested. Courtney Huffhines, the mother of Tyler and Jacob, has been arrested for maintaining a drug trafficking place and taken to the Kenosha County Jail. The 2 boys were charged after maintaining a THC vaping operation. Police seized more than 31,000 vape cartridges with about a gram of THC in each one of them. Nearly 57 mason jars filled with refined liquid THC, 3 money counting machines, along with dozens of other pieces of drug paraphernalia.
Heavy rain over the next few days could lead to flash flooding tomorrow and Wednesday. In preparation, Sauk County Emergency Management is offering free sand and bags. They can be found in West Baraboo along Highway 136, directly across from Festival Foods. Let's go to meteorologist Dave Caulfield now with a closer look at our first alert forecast. Dave?
Yeah, Charlotte, over the next couple of days, we're fairly sure that someone is going to get really heavy rain over the course of Tuesday and Wednesday. It's just a question of where exactly that heaviest axis of rain will set up. Doppler track is showing quiet conditions, though, across southern Wisconsin. A few thunderstorms off to the north and west. Those really won't impact southern Wisconsin If they do, it will be the rain and storms farther to the south and west that could come through tomorrow morning. Madison looking at mostly clear skies on the WISC-TV Skycam. Still humid outside and a little bit on the warm side with temperatures in the upper 70s, especially considering it is basically October. Dew points are in the upper 60s and low 70s, so plenty of fuel for that cold front to use to create those storms over the next couple of days. Showers and storms likely for tomorrow morning and into the later portions of Tuesday. We'll time it out and talk about updated rain totals in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Columbia County Sheriff's Office is investigating the death of 35-year-old Keith Wolf, who died from a gunshot wound after checking his basement for a potential intruder after hearing a noise. Sheriff Roger Brandner says there are no suspects in custody and doesn't know if there is a danger to the public right now. Wolf's family says they believe he died protecting his family. His brother Jesse says he has always been incredibly proud of his little brother.
I was pretty fortunate to have a brother as good as he was. I mean, I couldn't ask for, seriously, I couldn't ask for anything better. Everything he did and all the pictures that I would see, it'd bring a tear to my eye because I was so proud.
Wolf's family say they are turning to each other to stay strong right now because that is what Wolf would have wanted. They say he was very loving and cared deeply for his family. Brandner says he is hoping to have more answers tomorrow.
A woman is now in custody, tentatively charged with first-degree attempted homicide. Police say 22-year-old Chiquita Lee critically injured a 21-year-old woman and also shot another 49-year-old woman in a series of gunshots that happened yesterday on High Ridge Trail. Lee was also shot in that ordeal. Police say they believe it was the result of an ongoing family dispute. Fitchburg Police Chief Chad Breckland says he doesn't believe it's connected to the still unsolved case of the murder of Shay Watson, but says handling two incidents related to gun violence is putting a strain on resources.
When situations like this happen, particularly in close proximity to one another, it does definitely put a tax on our resources, so to speak. And it's great to have partners in this county that are willing to help provide resources in time of need.
Chief Breckland said he is not looking for any additional suspects right now, but says more arrests could be made.
Madison police have issued arrest warrants for 33-year-old Lee Arthur Taylor and 37-year-old Lawrence Thomas in connection to a North Side shooting over the weekend. They are facing first-degree intentional homicide charges. A 19-year-old Malik Moss of Sun Prairie was shot around 6 o'clock Saturday evening on Northport Drive. Investigators believe there was a dispute between Moss and people he knew leading to the shooting. They say, quote, extremely good surveillance footage is helping the case. On former Madison Police Chief Mike Koval's first day of retirement, he is sharing more about his reasons for the abrupt departure.
He made that announcement on his blog yesterday that his resignation would be effective immediately. Koval says he's frustrated and just tired of the politics. He says despite his best efforts, he hasn't been able to get the increase in staffing he says the department needs. Since 2015, he's requested 10 more officers a year, but never got it. He says he's run out of ways to convince the mayor and alders to pay attention to the needs of the department.
And frankly, we're getting ready to go through another budgetary process where I am completely frustrated in terms of what I believe are important priorities for this department that probably won't be met, and I get it. But that doesn't mean I have to like it, that doesn't mean I have to agree with it, and it certainly doesn't mean I have to sit through it.
He hopes that the person chosen as the next chief will be independent and not let themselves be, quote, lapdogs for politicians. Koval says as he leaves, what makes him feel angst and fear most is our current juvenile justice system, saying we don't have enough mentors, programming, or space to confine kids.
The Wisconsin National Guard rescued an injured hiker this weekend at Devil's Lake. This happened on Saturday. According to a release, a large stone dislodged on the east side of the lake and pinned a woman's leg against another large stone. Baraboo and fire and rescue crews were able to free her leg. It was not broken, but she couldn't walk. A Black Hawk helicopter was called in and the woman was airlifted to the hospital. Husky Energy says it's been given approval to rebuild its oil refinery in Superior, Wisconsin after an explosion in a series of fires last year. 36 people were injured and much of the city was forced to evacuate. Husky says it will start the $400 million plan immediately with the goal of resuming partial operations by 2021.
Some incredible video out of Surf City, North Carolina over the weekend. A fire and explosion destroying 7 homes. It damaged an 8th yesterday afternoon. Black smoke could be seen billowing for miles. You saw that massive explosion there. Investigators don't know what caused it, but several local and state agencies are teaming up now to look into it. No injuries, amazingly, were reported. The 25-year-old son of former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker has decided not to run for Congress. Matt Walker posted on Twitter today he would not run to replace retiring Republican Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner in Wisconsin's 5th district. Walker has never run for office. He was among several Republicans eyeing that seat in the deeply Republican district. Two of President Trump's closest advisors are now linked to the White House House impeachment inquiry. We're learning tonight that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo listened in on that controversial phone call with Ukraine's leader. Also in the crosshairs, the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who stated multiple times that he has tried to get officials in Ukraine to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. President Trump has suggested the whistleblower could be charged with treason or worse, and tweeted that he deserves to meet his accuser.
New York Republican Representative Chris Collins is resigning ahead of his expected guilty plea to corruption charges. Collins submitted his resignation letter today to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. The resignation will become official tomorrow. Collins was the first member of the House to back Donald Trump for president. He is expected to plead guilty to insider trading charges in New York tomorrow. A prominent Madison insurance executive and a member of the board of directors of WISC-TV has died. John Larson joined National Guardian Life in 1969, a few years after getting law and accounting degrees from the University of Wisconsin. He was named chief executive officer of the Madison Insurance Company in 1989 and continued to serve as chairman until he retired in 2017.
Still ahead tonight, why it'll soon cost you more to own a vehicle in Wisconsin.
Plus, preparation is just about finished. A preview of this year's World Dairy Expo kicking off tomorrow at the Alliant Energy Center.
Welcome back. Starting tomorrow, it'll cost you more to update your vehicle registration and title.
The Wisconsin Department of Transportation is increasing fees as part of the state's biennial budget. Starting October 1st, title fees will increase from $69 to $164. Your car registration fee is also going up to $85, which is a $10 increase. There's also a new $75 annual surcharge for all hybrid electric vehicles. The number of measles cases in the U.S. continues to rise, although the outbreak has been declared over. In the last week, 2 more were confirmed. The Center for Disease Control says that brings the total to 1,243 confirmed cases in 31 states. The majority of those are among people who were not vaccinated. More than 75% of cases are linked to outbreaks in New York. CVS and now Hy-Vee are pulling a heartburn drug off the shelves over cancer concerns. The companies say they have stopped selling Zantac and the generic version of the medication. The move comes after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said acid-reducing medicines with ranitidine contain low levels of an impurity that could cause cancer. Despite the company's decisions to stop selling the medicine, Zantac and its generic counterpart have not been recalled.
President Trump's Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue is scheduled to attend a town hall session this week at the World Dairy Expo at the Alliant Energy Center. The expo, a global meeting place for people in the dairy industry to network, research, and figure out the best strategies for their dairy operation. An app emerging this year is available for people to improve their time efficiency at the expo and provide a platform for people to do business and schedule meetings.
This truly is the meeting place of all things that are related to the dairy industry. And, you know, the fact that it's right here in Madison and that we can showcase the industry and be a part of all that electricity that is this show is second to none.
Expo starts tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. at Alliant Energy Center. It'll run through October 5th. Families and their children are invited to come. You can watch our morning show tomorrow to get the inside look at the expo. Parts of Montana decided to simply skip fall altogether. An unusually powerful storm dumped over 3 feet of snow on parts of the northern Rockies over the weekend. Last time they got 13 inches of snow in September, way back in 1934. This storm started Friday afternoon. High winds created whiteout conditions and knocked down trees. The storm reached as far as Idaho and Spokane, Washington. I wonder if any of our viewers out there are ready for that just yet. But sure, you know, today, what did we hit, 80 something?
85 was our high.
Really
it felt
warm.
like the 90s at times. And we can actually thank that heat and humidity for creating such a nice sunset tonight. Check this out. Castle Rock Lake, Ed and Sue Atkinson sending in this photo. Thank you so much. You see those rays in the sky? Those are what's known as crepuscular rays. Now that's a big word meaning related to twilight because we usually see these at sunset and sunrise. In this case, it is a sunset photo. But really, the reason for this is because we had so much haze and humidity in the atmosphere that helped scatter the light and allowed us to see it. So that's awesome. We can thank the humidity for something. We can also blame the humidity for creating the environment to possibly see some heavy rain over the next couple of days. So Tuesday and Wednesday are alert days. 1 to 2 inches of rain possible for both of those days. So 2 to 4 inches of rain across southern Wisconsin, not out of the question. It's just a case or it's just a guess right now of exactly who gets that heavy rain, where exactly that axis of heavy rain will set up. And the problem here, folks, is that we really can't take much more in the way of rain. We had such a soggy September, almost 7 inches of rain in Madison this September, but closer to southwestern Wisconsin, there have been some reports of about 15 to even 20 inches of rain, not out of the question this month alone. So you topple or tack on 4 to 6 more inches to that, and that could create a really bad situation quickly. So a flash flood watch in effect for all the counties you see shaded in green, basically all of southern Wisconsin from Tuesday morning until Wednesday morning. The good news right now is we're not seeing any rain just yet, but that will change quickly. We're starting to see some semblance of that cold front that will slowly crawl through southern Wisconsin over the next 24 to 48 hours, and storms will just form along that front and hopefully not impact the same area over and over again, although that training effect is definitely possible. So as we head into the next 48 hours or so, we really start to see our rain chances go up Tuesday morning, and they are very high for Tuesday afternoon and evening. Into Wednesday, maybe a short break until we get to Wednesday night, then another round of light to moderate showers and storms is possible. We finally dry out on Thursday. Live look in Madison on the Edgewater Skycam, mostly clear skies. Today's high of 85. We were talking about it. is only 3 degrees off the record of 88 set back in 1971. I don't think we'll see the 80s come back anytime soon. Other high temperatures, 90s in Boscobel. Felt like the mid-90s at times. Temperatures right now are still warm in the upper 70s. So as we head into tonight, we're in the upper 60s. Storms arriving late into early Tuesday morning, and then showers and storms likely for tomorrow, and some heavy rain is possible. Quick look at future track. We could see that heavy rain moving through southern Wisconsin round after round on the way for Tuesday and also Wednesday. So Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, that's really the best chance of that widespread heavy rain. That's when that cold front will really be here in full and make its effect known before another round potentially of showers and thunderstorms. Here's our latest update as far as precipitation totals go. You can see that axis shifted way to the south, and this would basically be the nightmare scenario if this does end up happening, because so many of the areas shaded in the 4 to 6 inch ratio here have already received so much rain. So hopefully that doesn't happen. It's just a question of exactly where those heavy downpours set up. We need to be prepared for the threat of flash flooding over the next couple of days.
Wow. All right, Dave, thank you.
Thanks, Dave. All right, for the Brewers, who's in, who is out? For tomorrow's wild card game at our nation's capital, we've got an update on Lorenzo Cain. That's next in sports.
News 3.
Well, less than 24 hours away from the Brewers season being over or continuing to face the Dodgers. Now, the good news is that 1/3 at least of the Brewers' original starting outfield will be back for the postseason. Ryan Braun will start in the left in tomorrow's wildcard game against the Nationals in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, Lorenzo Cain expects to play. He took batting practice and tested out his sprained ankle. Didn't really seem to be all that comfortable, though, jogging around the field at Nationals Park, but said a lot would have to be wrong for him to not play in tomorrow's game. First pitch just after 7, Brandon Woodruff will start on the mound against Max Scherzer. Devontae Adams and Jamal Williams did not practice today, but the good news on this part is that Williams was at least back at Lambeau with the team after he was hit by Derek Barnett in the game against the Eagles on Thursday. He is, though, officially in concussion protocol. As for Devontae, he'll be day-to-day, according to head coach Matt LaFleur. He hurt his toe in Thursday's game, and well, if he ends up not being able to play on Sunday, Coach LaFleur says, next man up.
Those guys are going to have to fill a void. If he's not able to go, obviously that would create a pretty significant void. But it is the next man has got to step up, and it's not like our standards or expectations are going to change.
And in case you missed it earlier, it's been an ongoing debate for years now. Should college athletes get paid? Well, the state of California is taking the first steps towards making that happen. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the Fair Pay to Play Act today, which will allow California student athletes to profit off of their name, image, or likeness. That starts on January 1st, 2023. That essentially allows players to get paid for endorsements, an issue that many student athletes have been passionate about, most recently around here, former Badger basketball player Nigel Hayes. Now, the NCAA not exactly thrilled, saying in part that while they do agree that changes are needed to support student athletes, it needs to happen at a national level. Wisconsin Athletic Director Barry Alvarez said during an interview this morning on WTMJ Radio in Milwaukee that as long as the rules are different, the Badgers won't be scheduling any California schools in the future.
This is amateur athletics, and so I'm very concerned with it, and I think it'll affect our game greatly. And believe me, I want to do as much as we possibly can for our student athletes. And we do. Our student athletes actually live pretty good right now. And their stipend, let's say a football or basketball player, their stipend monthly, probably between $650, $750 spending money tax-free, along with everything else taken care of.
And Badger linebacker Chris Orr named the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. He had 9 tackles against Northwestern, including 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a lot of fire. The Badgers are still ranked number 1 in the nation in total defense, allowing an average of less than 200 yards a game. Wisconsin hosts Kent State on Saturday at 11 a.m. And finally tonight, our Prep Mania high school football game of the week takes us back to Oregon, where the Panthers face Monona Grove in a Badger South Conference battle. Join Jay Wilson and Alan Minert for the game. That's Friday night, 7 p.m., live on channel3000.com. We'll be right back.
Last look at your 10-day forecast. Heavy rain possible Tuesday and Wednesday. We do quiet down Thursday and Friday with more fall-like temperatures.
Thanks for joining us at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Now.